The national population of UK is growing, and at the same time, the social housing stock has been shrinking. So since 1980, stock was at 5.5 million, but today that's down at 4.1 million. And most people in the UK are very aware that house prices are at record highs and home ownership is simply becoming unaffordable for many people within the UK, and even renting is becoming unaffordable. For years and years now, the UK government has been promising a surge in building to try and address this shortfall, but it simply never met the scale of the challenge that's needed. And this has led to the Labour government, the new Labour government, pledging to build 1.5 million new homes by the end of the Parliament, although it's widely considered that the UK doesn't have the capacity for that presently. But it's not just about numbers. Grenfell, the terrible tragedy 7.5 years ago, led to a horrendous death for 72 residents who lost their lives. And then 5 years ago, we had the death of Awab Ishaq. And both those tragedies have sent shockwaves around the social housing sector. I would say the housing sector more broadly, but also related sectors such as construction, insurance, and so on. And also, there is a need for the UK's 27 million housing stock to be prepared for net zero and to be resilient to the changing climate. The climate has already changed. This isn't a thing of tomorrow. We're already suffering from extreme weather events. And what all of these things point to is that the UK housing stock really isn't fit for purpose as it currently is. And the UK is known for having old, leaky, and poor quality homes. So there's not enough homes. What we do have is not of good enough quality. There is a huge need for investment. However, after years of cutting back on funding for new homes, we've also had the impact of COVID, which has driven up costs across the sector, particularly in relation to repairs. And then the invasion of Ukraine by Russia, which led to spiraling inflation, spiraling interest rates, and the government then, to protect tenants, quite rightly, putting rent controls on the social housing sector. And this has made the financial conditions for the social housing sector tighter than ever. And it's quite clear from the most recent budget that there actually isn't a lot of money coming our way yet. So, my goodness, you all came here to find out about information management. But what does this mean? We need more cash. There isn't that money available. So we're going to have to do more with less. And that points to efficiency and productivity improvements. And there are some other opportunities to talk about and changes. First of all, the social housing sector has significantly been consolidating over the last 45 years. So in 1980, there were over 400,000 social housing providers. Today, though, there's only 1,600. And what we're finding is that on average, social housing providers have got their stock size has increased by over 180 times. So we are managing many more properties. And on top of that, we are seeing a substantial increase in regulation, largely in response to those terrible tragedies, and also to, for example, the demands for the transition to net zero, and even the need to protect our biodiversity. So we're managing more information than ever before. And on top of that, we're needing to know much more about our homes. So much more information is needed. So how are we going to deal with that? Well, there has been the introduction over that same period of computers and digital systems. This has been evolving very rapidly, and certainly software developers would have us believe that this can answer all our solutions. So the digital world is hopefully riding to the rescue here. However, our tried and tested organizational tools and approaches so far have just got stuck. And it really is fairly clear through things that have been coming out from the regulatory sector that we're just not managing to grip the new world of digital information management. It's just not working yet. Finally, I just want to point to something that's worth thinking about. So it's the intergenerational differences between us. So when I first started my career, computers were still pretty early in being used in work. There wasn't much specialist software. However, that's been increasing over time. But younger members in the economy and in social housing sector, they would have been brought up in a much more tech-savvy environment, potentially using digital devices, iPads and things like that, right from almost being toddlers. And I think it's really worth thinking about that. Where is the knowledge? Where is that natural ability? Where are the skills that we need? And where isn't it? And where are the decisions being made? So where are the opportunities? Where are the challenges across our workforce within the same organization? That's really the picture that I wanted to paint before moving on to the detail of the masterclass. So housing crisis, need for investment, lack of money. We need to become more efficient. We have the promise of the digital revolution, but we haven't quite got it right. How can we get it right?